Yes crew, what is going on? My name's Liam Cox from Tech House Market, and today I'm going to show you how to go from an 8 or 16 bar loop to a full track arrangement using a super simple trick that I've been using in my productions recently, and it's super effective. If we dive straight into the project here, basically what I've got is all of my elements laid out in a 16 bar loop with no arrangement at all. So if we take a listen.
Out of your head, out of my mind, time to let go, how to lay you down. Running out of ways, losing my time, 'cause baby you know how to lay you down.
So as you can hear, the idea is super solid. Definitely got a lot of potential there, but now we need to arrange the track from a 16 bar loop to a full track arrangement. The first thing that we need to do when thinking about this is find a track which is similar to yours in terms of style, and let's say you were playing a DJ set, try and find a track that you would either play before or after your track, and what you want to do is drag it into your project. And the track I've chose here is Lose Control by James Hype. It's got similar style drums and it's got this old school lead sound that I've got in mind. And then the vocals are sort of similar, so if I was playing a DJ set I could also play this James Hype track after or before mine and it would fit pretty well. So that's the sort of thing you want to think about when choosing your arrangement reference track. So what we're going to do, once we've dragged this into Logic, the reference track, what we want to do is basically make sure it's on beat, and we're going to copy the arrangement there or thereabouts, but obviously with our own elements of this track, because we know it works. It's obviously a huge track, it works in clubs, and we're going to sort of use that to determine what we're going to do with our elements. So it's not actually copying, it's sort of using it as a guide as to where to bring our stuff in, where to take it out, etc. The best way I like to do this is if you click this arrow here, you can add markers in Logic. What I like to do is sort of go through the reference track. So we can see 9 bars in. He's got his kick and bass. So what I like to do is add a marker, then name it kick and bass. And the first 9 bars is just the kick with the drums. So if we go kick, drums. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the whole track and sort of lay out some markers as to where he brings stuff in, takes stuff out. So 16 bars in, he has the kick and bass with some vocals as well. And then it looks like 25 or 24 bars is where the first break comes in. So then we can go to here, then we can go break. Then he's got a little section here. As we said, we don't have to copy it exactly, so if ours works in a slightly different way then we'll do that, but this is more of a guide as to where to put your stuff. So here he's got vocals, here he's got his main synth, so we could possibly bring ours in around this area. Then at 56 he's got the drop, and so on, and we can repeat this for the whole track and basically map out what he's doing in his track and use it as a guide. So at 73 is sort of where the main drop finishes, and it goes into like a sort of like a cool down section. You guys get the idea. If you were doing this for your project, you'd find your reference track, drag it in, and then go through the whole track and just sort of map out what they're doing and use it as a guide. So you guys don't have to watch me mark down what he's doing for every single bit. I'm just going to stop here and then sort of show you guys how I would use this to arrange my elements in my track. What I like to do is drag all your elements to a separate bit of your project, so you can sort of just add stuff rather than take stuff away. Then we can start dragging stuff back as we need it. So the first sort of 9 bars, as we can see by our markers, is just the kick and drums, and he sort of takes the kick out for the last 1 or 2 bars, so we can sort of use that as inspiration, maybe do something similar, but for now I wouldn't worry about that too much. That's the more finishing touches. All we want to do now is literally drag the kick over, and the same thing with all the other elements, so the hats. And this is a much easier way of doing it than sort of taking everything away. Oh, what do I need here, what do I not? It's better to just sort of leave it blank, drag all your elements to a separate space, and then you can sort of build it off there. So in terms of the drums, again, we're just using this as a guide, so we can use, if we don't want to bring all of the top/percussion loops in straight away, we don't have to, like we might just want to bring maybe a couple of these in and sort of leave maybe the hat loop and the shaker, so then when the bass comes in you have a bit more energy. And if we add in our claps, he's got a nice sort of pad as well. We've got a couple of atmosphere stuff that we can sort of drag, see if it works. That might be a bit too much high end. I think this one suits it more, and we can use the other one later on. So if we just take off some of the highs. And then maybe to sort of change it up a little bit, we can add in the shakers 4 bars in that hat loop, just to keep it interesting to the listener. So this is sounding really cool. So if we move on to the next section, he's now adding in the bass line. We want to add all of our drums here, apart from the ride, as we want to save that for sort of the drop. If we put in all of our drums, and now we're going to add in a bass. And this is why this way of doing it is super simple, because all we need to do is literally just drag stuff over, and it's already there. There's no messing about. Again, we don't forget the atmosphere. Maybe we could add in another atmosphere to sort of keep it interesting again. Cool. So now we're going to do the same thing, copy and paste. Now this time, as we can see from our markers, he's got some vocal sort of chops coming in. So bring these over, do the same thing. Now we are going to get some vocal chops. Again, we're just using his as a sort of guide. So whatever sounds good, we're going to use. Maybe just use a couple of these, see how it sounds. So that's sounding super cool, and obviously I'm just showing this to you guys. I'm doing it sort of quickly just to sort of show you guys the full process, but you can obviously take your time, do a bit of experimentation, see what works. So now if we move on, we're going to the break. If we listen to his, he has a section that's not really much going on, but maybe we wanted to do something slightly different. So we're just going to have some of the drums, maybe the clap, and then some shakers. So what we're going to do is sort of carry on with them vocal chops, take out the kick and the bass, and we can maybe start introducing some of these pads. So if we try this one, and why this is a good way to sort of do it as well is because you can literally trial and error stuff so easily. You can drag it in, if it doesn't work, try the next one, because we've got all our elements there in the first place. So that one works, that's cool. Now, if we look at our markers again, go back to reference, he now brings in the full vocals. So what we're gonna do is get our Reese bass, and these vocals happen for, I believe, 16 bars. It depends how long our sort of vocal loop is, but ours isn't as long, so maybe we can cut that down to 8, or maybe we can repeat it, or get creative with it. We don't have to copy his exactly. Again, we're just using it as a sort of guide. So if we add in all of our pads at the vocals, and again just sort of experiment with this, see what sounds good, keep one of our atmospheres maybe, and Yeah, if we drag in this main vocal, yeah, so our vocal is only 8 bars long, but we can have a play around with that, make some chops, etc. You can get creative with it, so let's see how this sounds. For some projects I would also add like some automation, etc. Again, we can also add some effects sort of to make the transitions a bit smoother. So that actually sounds cool. Then maybe we could bring some drums back in. Maybe we could bring back in a clap. Maybe some shakers as well. See how that sounds. So the next bit after this would be the main synth. So that would be our synth lead here. So if we drag this over, and again we want to keep the vocal atmos loop. Maybe we can bring this one back in. Again, use some effects.
Now I will lay you down, out of your head, out of my mind. Time to let go, I will lay you down. Running in place, losing more time. 'Cause baby, you know I will lay you down.
Cool. So that sounds good. Maybe this respace, it was sort of playing a different melody from the actual riff. So maybe when the riff hits, to have a bit more effect, we could just do one note, which is the root note. So that gives a sort of bit more effect than having the sort of melody which we had playing with the vocals. So this is cool. I think we can maybe have again a couple of the vocal chops every 2 bars instead of every 4. And maybe instead of the last one, we could maybe bring back in some of the acapella.
'Cause baby, you know I will lay you down.
Then we can go back to our reference markers and we're perfectly in line for the drop. So if we sort of listen back to the reference track, so yeah, he's got his full drums, full bass in with the synth, maybe a little bit of atmosphere as well with the ride. So if we drag some effects in here to create a bit of tension with this build up, and now we can sort of go full pelt with our drop, drag all of our elements into the drop section, and also we can add in a atmosphere, and potentially this crowd cheer would be good as well. So if we listen back to the reference, so the second part of the drop, the sort of second 8 bars, he brings in vocal chops again. So maybe we could do the same sort of thing. Maybe we could use this sort of vocal bit that we've made. We could redo the crowd atmosphere. We could have that playing again. And that should be perfect for our drop. So we've got everything in here, the bass, some vocal chops for the second part. Again, using it as a guide, not copying the reference track. Using it as inspiration to get creative with. Think to yourself, where can I put some of this stuff? Maybe we could add in the string here. Just see how it works, experiment with it. So if we now take a listen to the drop. Okay, it'd be good if we added in our main lead. It did sound pretty good, to be fair. And like this, you might even have like a happy accident sort of thing where you forget to put something in, but you actually think, oh yeah, that actually sounds pretty good. So if you were going for sort of something a bit more underground, that would sound pretty solid. But in this case, we're sort of going after that sort of ravey stab house, so we'll want to have it in. So if we listen again.
'Cause baby, you know I will lay you down.
So sounding super cool. As you can see here, I've also added in this sort of ride sound just into the second part of the drop, just to sort of keep it interesting every 8 bars, keep the listener interested and guessing sort of what's going to come next. Yeah, if I was doing this for one of my sort of projects, I'd again go to the second break and then the second drop, sort of do the same thing, mark down where the track has like certain elements come in or stuff gets taken out, and sort of use it as like inspiration or a guide as to what to do with my elements, where to arrange my drums, bass, leads, etc. But yeah, you can get creative with it. Don't just follow his like exactly, because it's a different track. 9 times out of 10 it won't work exactly how he did it, but you can use it as a reference and a guide on how to do it if you're stuck with your arrangement. So if you guys found this video useful, make sure to click the like on the video, comment below what you want to see next time, subscribe to Tech House Market, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.